This video is on how to create a case note and also how to notify other service providers of information within that case note or case notes that you'd like to pass along to specific service providers. So currently where we're at, we're just logged in and we're in the main interface here on CAN's MyApricot. And so the next thing we're going to do here is I already have a client set up known as test. And then in here I'm just going to click to get into that client's folder. And here we have the case notes, CAN note, event, and referral system. And if there was already case notes created for the individual, you'd see that there would be additional records in here. There currently is not, and so we're going to actually create a new record or a new case note. Case note format's a pretty simple setup. First, we're just going to indicate what agency is creating the case note, and for which program, if there is any program that the case note is affiliated with. For this instance, we're just going to say BrianWorks, for example, which is an adult employment program. And here we're just going to add the date that the contact was made with the individual. And if the case note does have some action items in it, it might not be completed, we would just leave the case note as being open. And then a description of the contact. Let's say in this instance I'm recording that the client was recently employed. So let's see here. Client reported that they have obtained employment with, let's say, some organization. Alright, so from there, for this, so far we don't need to do any type of referral, and so we're actually just leave this blank. But it is the same system that we do conduct our referrals, but there's a separate video on how to conduct a referral. And so then we just save the case note. And so now the next step is, let's say that the case note you created, there were some additional items that were occurred that were connected to that case note. In those cases, what we do here is add a case note event. So we just click this add button here, creating a new case note. And then here, very simple setup where we just indicate the date and then a description of the event. So let's say that client came back in and lost their employment, and they are seeking out another employer. Alright. And then here, if let's say I wanted to update some people on that change, we would just say that we're going to actually send this information to some other service providers that might be sharing this client, for example. So I'm actually going to indicate that yes, when I save this record, that it will send out a notification to the people I indicate. And if it is from people within different agencies, we need to make sure that we have a release of information on file. And so we'll also click yes. So we'll just pretend that we do have a release of information on file for this individual. And then to the people that we're intending to send this to. And for here, we're going to put the sender's email. And let's say I just want the service provider to read my case note. So I'll say see above case notes. And then in here, I'm going to indicate who it's going to. So I'm just going to email it to myself. So keep in mind that if this individual is not shared with whoever it is it's being sent to, we will need to adjust access to the record. Currently there's no other group set up on this, but typically there will be other agencies listed here and other groups if they don't have access currently to that record. And then what we're going to do is we're going to save the record. It takes a little bit longer in part because it's shooting out some email triggers. And then what I'm going to do here now is two things happen. One, the person that sends out the email gets a notification, or the event notification gets a notice that their email was in fact sent. And so here it says that your event notification email has been sent to this dmiller@canyonarbor.org, and there's actually a direct link here that if I was to click on it would take me directly to that record. And then let's see here on, here we go, to my dmiller account. Here is the recipient of the event notification, and here I have the information that was provided in the case note. So here this is who it was sent from, and then here's the referral information, description of the event, that they lost their employment and they are seeking employment with a different employer, and some additional instructions. Service provider in here just instructed to see the above case note, and again they receive a record link that will take them directly to that. Alright, so that is how you conduct a event notification as well. And keep in mind that there's actually two different locations where you can do these event notifications, one of which is within the client's existing case note, and here within a case note event. So what I'm going to actually do now is exit out of that case note event and go back into the main case note that we had created. And so in here, this was the original case note that we had created. We see this additional case note event that had occurred, and this is where we had gone to send out a notification to other service providers. But let's say we hadn't created another event. What happens in those cases is that we just want to send the main case note information. And for that, we just open up this, and again, same setup where we just indicate that once we save the event, that it will trigger an email with this information on it, and that we, yes, do have a release of information on file. Again, I'm just going to put the same email address as that. So here, this notice is coming from bryantdirector@gmail.com, and let's just say blah blah blah. There we go. And then I want it to go to dmiller@canyonarbor.org. And then once again, when I save this record, it will shoot out those email triggers, and it will include the information from the main case note on it. There we go. Saves. Let's check the emails again. And alright, so let's update this. There it is again. Same thing, tells us where it was, and the record link to take us to where that case note was being sent from. And then this is the recipient email, and here we go again with another notification that was sent by Derek Miller, and then the instructions of the service provider of blah 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 blah. And then again, I click on this link, it'll just take me directly to that case note. Here we are. And that concludes how to create a case note and a case note event, and also how to notify additional service providers of pertinent information within any given case note.